Are we on? No, now we're on. Now you can do your good morning.
Good morning.
You got. There's a couple of things going on here. First, this thing.
Ow.
That's so long.
Ow.
All right, that's one, and then we got something right here.
Ow.
All right.
He manscapes me, yes.
There's just like this Peter Gallagher thing going on, although I don't think many people will know what Peter Gallagher is.
He was in the Jane Fonda series.
So, episode 41 has mistakenly been deleted by yours truly. So, if you're looking for it, it is gone.
So we get to do 42, your age.
Right, to 40, you wish. Just add 25 to whatever age I am, and you will get him. So I'm going to jump around. First thing I want to do, before I want you to do a DC update.
Okay.
But first, I want to do a congratulations to this man.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So you hear him talk, you got to love NAR. They have a lot of acronyms. NAR, YPN, FBC, RVP, 1, 2, 3, ABC, Dory.
Talk about you and me.
So, I'm going to read a press release about this guy. Longtime Las Vegas realtor David Artina elected to national leadership post. David Artina, a former president of both the state of Nevada Realtors and the Greater Las Vegas Association of Realtors, has been elected to serve as the National Association of Realtors Regional Vice President. What does that mean? We are in regions in the nation for National Association of Realtors. How many regions we have?
13, unlucky 13.
13. It's kind of like the Hunger Games, right? We're District 12. No, we're District 11.
11.
And the way it works is, well, I'm going to read more about it. Tina was officially elected to the position on May 18th, 2019 Board of Directors to represent the Rocky Mountain region, which is, what 6 states are in the region?
Colorado,
Arizona, New Mexico, Wyoming, Utah, and Nevada. So he is like the president of all. Even though they call them VPs, if they're all VPs to the actual president of NAR. He will represent the states. Oh, I should have just read.
Continued on.
The states of Nevada, Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, Utah, and Wyoming. Tina was elected during NAR's legislative meetings and Trade Expo last week in D.C. He wasn't elected. This is a whole process. You were kind of...
Well, you're elected. You're elected.
Thank you for electing me 2020 Regional Vice President for National Association of Realtors. Tina said, I look forward to being sworn in at the annual convention in San Francisco. I am honored to be a servant of this association. As an RVP, and this is where it gets really cool, Tina is following in the footsteps of fellow Las Vegas realtors Linda Reinberger, Keith Kelly, and Jack Woodcock, all of whom held the same NAR position after serving as president of GLVR and the State Association. Are those the only other 3? Has RVP not been around for a while?
Well, you have to realize, you get it every 6 years, and there's 5 of us.
So what he's saying is they don't have one from Nevada every year because it's 6 states. You have ones from Utah, New Mexico, Wyoming, and it doesn't always rotate in that 6.
No,
sometimes
but at an average, if you take the 4 of them, it's 30 years.
You're right. And that's not including, has there been a North one, RVP?
No.
Gotcha.
Well, George Peak,
so then it becomes 30-something years.
Right, George
So
Peak.
Almost like the last 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
Tina, a longtime realtor, was also honored by NAR last year by achieving Realtor Emeritus status, which some would say would mean 40 years of NAR association. I would just say old.
I totally agree.
He was the State Association's Realtor of the Year in 2016. He was also the Local Association's Realtor of the Year in 2017. He owns and operates this company, Urban Nest Realty in Las Vegas. Oh, with me, David J. Tina, who was the 2017 president of GLVR. It's a great honor, my friend. And to commemorate your honor, I have gotten you
an award. Stelladora Swiss Fudge. Thank you. I'm honored. Brings back a lot of good memories of Dave and I as kids fighting over these.
So you didn't get them. So I posted about this the other day. These cookies, Stelladora was in the Bronx. Then they left.
Right.
big whatever. But you can only get them for a long time in the East Coast and the Midwest. We moved out here. It used to be a joke.
We couldn't get
You
them.
couldn't get them. So like my cousin would come out and she'd bring a couple of them. Then there's a great story. Well, first, he would bring these home and we would eat them.
Right. Now, everyone has their own way of eating a Stelladora. I would eat the white cake around it to leave me the chocolate center as pure passion. That's the way
I
would.
taught Lola how to do that. She now eats it the same way. Yes.
Generational.
It's. But you didn't bring them back all the time. They were kind of special.
Expensive, and
they were special. Now here's what's crazy about it.
They were expensive.
There's 3 at the bottom here.
I saw that.
Isn't that crazy?
It's a lucky pack.
It's a lucky package, right?
There may be one here.
No, there's 3.
Oh, I got a defect. Maybe I shouldn't eat it.
So it was kind of a special thing. I mean, they would be gone. I mean, my dad and I lived together. You raised me, so
Man,
it was
18 years.
Yeah, and then 2 years in Vegas without him. Then we lived together again for another like 3-4 years. So this was a special thing. This was kind of, but you didn't buy them all the time. But when he did buy them, they were gone.
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 And I buy one package because that's all I could afford.
So a couple of years back, my fat ass decides when Amazon's, well, not even, about 10 years back, when Amazon started getting big and you can order anything. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I think Angie and I just got married or engaged, we were living together. And I'm like, I'm going to order these Stelladora cookies off of Amazon Food or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And these are like $3.69. Back then they were like $2.80. And I'm like, babe, they're $12 a package. Can you believe that? I'm like, I can't just order one package because I know I'm going to eat it in 3 seconds. I got to order 2 packages. So I spent $25 for 2 packages of these. At the same time, I also read a lot. So I ordered like 6 books, right? So I was expecting a package of books to come and a little package of Stelladoras to come. So this box shows up from Amazon and I'm like, oh, my books came. I open it up and there's 12 boxes of these. What I didn't realize is that each package for 12 something was basically 6 in a package.
I got one package.
No, you got more than one.
No, I did.
Angie's like, give them away. I'm like, nope, I'm going to put them in the fridge. They're going to preserve. I ate like 4 packages in the first 5 days. I had to give them away.
That's how I got mine.
Yeah, pretty much. So, I tell you to open them, but I got an open box in the back.
No, I don't want to open them. I'm going to
You keep them. Exactly. All right. So, no, but back to the RVP. It's a big deal. You know, my dad has a way of being a leader. It's like a calming force, right? He's got a huge threshold for the politics surrounding you, and you kind of walk through it. I don't have the patience he does. I kind of sometimes at a bull in the china shop, but you have a great way of like taking everyone's ideas in and being a guiding force.
I'm older than you.
You are. It's 25 years, and I'm incapable.
At your age,
Bullshit.
I would have been a bull in the Chinese.
You really would have, actually. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had 25 years to calm down.
Well, you know, politics are an echo chamber. You know, it's a little difficult to just kind of go the company line. You know, like, I'm not, you know, it's almost like you got.
I'm very lucky to be a regional vice president in a time where NAR realizes that our voices have to be heard.
Yeah.
In the old days, it was more or less, I shall follow him.
Yeah.
You know, everyone had to follow like little minions. Today, they're asking your opinion. They're sending out surveys.
It's
so it's becoming, and you remember the vote where they tried changing something in 2009, and a friend of ours, Tom Solomon, happened to be the president.
And he had a good point.
You're right.
It was only 900 directors, and like 650 of them was showing up, and everyone was bailing out of an actual vote. So he actually did something good.
The point being is that everyone thinks whatever they want they get, and the vote lost of distributing the votes of how directors would be. And even on the floor in the meeting on Monday, on Saturday before we left, there were things that the directors wanted retracted and got retracted or changed for clarification and got changed and didn't go through. So truly at the NAR level, you are represented by the people of each state.
My only qualm is this, and thank God for people like him. There's some really great people in there, like, you know, Kenny Parcell, amazing Brian Copeland, Nobu, who am I missing? There's so many great people in there. But it is, if you like things to change fast,
It's a slow
and
process.
quickly, it's not.
At the same time, they had the president, and there was 11,000 of us, and no one was forced to go see him. No one was like, fill up the room. They said, he who wants to come, come. He who doesn't want to come. Now, at first, I was like, what? Because in my 12 years involvement, the president never came. But it's a standing invitation for every president to come every year. So that's how we landed up there. And McCain is related to...
Yeah, she's the wife.
Yeah, to an NAR employee.
Which, at first, well, that's a conversation for
Totally
another time.
different story. In the end, we were respectful.
So tell us about DC, other than that. What's going on?
DC. Interesting about the market is we all have the same
Issues.
We all have inventory. We
Issues.
all have a good...
We all have inventory. All right, we all have inventory. Too much inventory, not enough, more than 2017.
Approximately 3 months inventory as an average.
Which, context, let's give context. In 2012, 3 months in inventory would be happy days are here again because we had 8 months inventory.
Right.
In 2017, we only had 1 month inventory.
Right.
So I still believe it's a low inventory.
And the next thing
but more than the last couple of years.
Everyone across the nation has decreased in sales.
Units,
And that
affordability.
decrease in sales is trying to get people to say, oh my God, we're going to have 2007 again. Not true. Not true. There's no drop. It just takes... I laughed at your video last night. First of all, you look like you were in a horror movie.
They didn't see that. That was just for Urban Nest.
Oh, with the rain and the dark and you.
Yeah. Okay.
But 3 things. I said he's going to say price, 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 and you did. But it was an interesting. Looked like you were going to come out with a knife.
So we do. I introduced this last week, and I've done it every day. Daily Nest, which is just for Urban Nest agents. No more than 5 minutes. Just completely real estate related topics. Quick, boom, boom. And we talked about, if you're doing a price reduction, go the whole way, right? Don't go half the way. And what he's saying is, there's more context, but we're in a micro market as far as it seems like it's a buyer's market because we need price reductions and there's not as many purchases.
Can't we be honest?
We're not, though.
No, you're not without not listening to.
I said if your house
seems like we're in a buyer's market because the sellers are
irrational.
Unfortunately overpricing their houses so greatly, not to what the last house sold for, but $50,000.
They used to be in the prom queen, and now they've just graduated college and they're no longer the prom queen.
Right.
So you got to work a little bit harder, right? So I said was the harsh reality of life when it comes to listings. If you've been on the market for 90 days, everyone wants to know what I have to do to sell my house. I said there's 3 top reasons or 3 top things you need to do or reasons of why you're not selling. I said reason number 1 you're not selling is price. Reason number 2 you're not selling is
price.
And reason number 3 is
price.
9 out of the 10 reasons are
price.
Maybe you have some kind of extenuating circumstance. But I don't believe it's because it's a bad market. It's because of price. I believe it's because there's unrealistic expectations.
And I believe because when there was one house for sale of that model or in that subdivision, you could get a higher price. But when there's 4 houses and 1 or 3 of them are overpriced, the one that's priced right is I had an agent in the conversation in my class yesterday, and there were 3 of the same model, and she liked the first one, put the offer, they wouldn't even counter her. She liked the second one, counter her. The third one, need a little more upgrading. They took her price, which was lower, and she bought a house, and she's going to paint and do some floors. It's not a question of, if I don't take Dave's, I'm done. It's Dave's, it's Danny's, it's Bernadette's. They're all out there for sale.
So something I forgot to mention in this video yesterday was, I already mentioned it, every 10 showings you should get one offer, right?
Absolutely true.
But the second part was, the NAR does, one of the really great things they do is their yearly stats. And if you dig deep, I'm a stats guy, I love numbers. So you dig deep into the stats, one of the numbers that continually stays the same every single year is houses end up selling within 1 to 3% of the final list price. And what does that mean? Not 1 to 3% of what it's listed originally at, but when the seller finally comes down to what it should be at, it usually sells within 3% of that price.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that there's not a lot of negotiation area. It also means that idea of keeping it high so that the buyer feels like they're getting a good deal is hurting everybody. The buyers are waiting for the seller to come down to a realistic price. They don't like making lowball offers. People don't want to offend people.
It's actually it's actually an injustice, because people don't understand that by listing it high, it makes it look like the market is not regulated in a way that you can't regulate price, but you need to put the price close to the last comp. Now, if you did 200,000 of upgrades in $1 million home, you could get 150. You'll get 150.
Yeah, but even then, that's why buyers who are willing to make offers on overpriced houses end up winning. It's because no one else is making that offer, right? It's like the guy who's an 8 asking out the girl who's a 10 because no one is asking her out.
Exactly.
Right? He gets the date. Same thing with the listing price. So make your offer. You don't realize the seller may come down, right? And the seller needs some realism too. I did it on my own house. I had it priced high because I was playing with the market. I ended up coming down right to where I wanted it to be, right? But I was going to have to come down to that price anyway. So, interesting point. What else did DC?
Okay, so in DC we spoke about that. We spoke about, and I don't know, some of you are going to love this, some of you are going to hate it. They feel that the population of realtors are going to decrease within this year and next year. 2 reasons.
Age.
Age is number one. Don't talk about age.
No, I'm just saying.
No, age is number one, that a lot of people
are
from my
retiring.
generation are retiring. And the second reason is that because jobs are so good, people that said, oh, I'm going to be a realtor and I'm going to do this because I have nothing else to do, are going to go back to their normal jobs.
Yeah, because they're only going to make less than $30,000, and you can make that.
Right.
You know, you go get $20 an hour, you're making $42,000.
So maybe a little bit of good news is that the numbers will go down.
Which is interesting because we're going to talk about independent contractor status versus W-2 employee. What else? Anything else?
We met with all our representatives, and every point we had, which was the Equality Act. God bless JLVAR, they're totally in favor of the Equality Act.
Hey, better late than never.
And we're talking about, we're definitely talking about flood insurance to get a 5-year extension, not 6 months.
6 months at a time.
Yeah, so they want flood insurance not to be a every 6 months deal. And then we were talking again about keeping the airways free. You know, the thing last year where they opened it up with the internet, and sometimes they were saying you'd have to buy the information. Remember that point last year? You were there. All right, well, basically to keep the internet open and free.
Oh, yes.
You remember it, you were there.
I forgot what it's called, but they're trying to regulate the internet, and it would kill.
Let's go to Dave Tina's site, that'll be $30.
Yes,
They're
it's
trying
different pricing.
Right.
And it would only benefit the people with a ton of money.
Exactly.
They would get out the logo. They're
So,
still fighting
They're
that.
still fighting to get that back
Wow.
because it was passed on this administration. And nothing major as far as that. And then we did have open discussions of Yucca, and know that the 3 people.
Yucca Mountain here, Nevada test site.
Right, 3 congressmen and congresspeople in Las Vegas are against opening it. The 2 senators for our state are against. A northern congressman was for.
Of course.
And wait, he was giving his constituents paths to get there because they decided not to take that nuclear waste through Clark County because we made such a stink. And every path he was mapping,
They didn't want it.
Yes, they didn't want it. So the reality is New Mexico and Texas are both willing to take it. And God bless Senator Cortez Masto, because she is fighting them. She's fighting to take it out. The one shipment that was snuck through, she wants it out of our state. And
You gotta love government and people.
yeah, well, that was
You know,
snuck
it's
through.
like, do this, as long as it just doesn't affect me. Right? As long as it doesn't change me.
There's something I feel about that. If we made it, we should store it, but it's not ours.
Exactly.
So don't give me your nuclear waste when we didn't make it ourselves.
I don't want, like I said, we talked about this weeks ago, I don't want your dog poop in my backyard.
No. So that was a
it's
big
your dog
issue.
poop.
And other than that, we did a lot of great things. And I enjoyed the hell out of the week.
Sounds riveting.
Yes. I missed you.
I did miss, that's the one thing. Mid-year was always a tough one for me. It's Sunday to Sunday. It's like a week, and by the middle of the week, you're like, get me the hell out of here. So, okay. The topic is Si vis pacem para bellum. I saw John Wick 3 last night, and that means if you want peace, prepare for war. Do you like that?
I'm a firm believer.
So, let's dive in. There's a lot of, I believe, uncertainty. Whether it's the world affairs, whether it's our industry, or whether it's the market. Would you say that's a fair comment? So let's tackle it from the market, right? There's a discussion going of how many years of growth do we have left. So you talked about it a little bit with DC. I was just watching the Las Vegas perspective that the LVGEA puts on. Jeremy Aguero, good friend of ours, speaks at it. Brian Gordon and him and his company, Applied Analysis, they are the preeminent voice, I'd say, of market conditions and what's going on in this city.
Just smart guys.
Fair, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think? Do you think he said things are good, or?
I will only tell you my opinion that things are good.
Things are good. So, this is an interesting thing.
Well, now I gave you an answer and you didn't tell me what he said.
You're right.
Oh.
This is how bipolar Nevada is. Nevada, I don't even know if I can show their slides because I'm sure they wouldn't mind, but I'm not going to. We went from number 1 in job growth ranking in 03, 04, and 05. 06 we started slipping to 10th. 07 we slipped to 39th in the state.
Oh, then my age.
And in 08, 09, and 10 we were dead last.
50.
So we went from first to last. Then in 11 we went to 33 in job growth, and 12 we went to 12th in job growth. The last 6 years we've been 4th, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 2nd, and in 18 and 19 we were first in job growth. Pretty interesting stat, right? Our employment base grew nearly 2 times the national average. Awesome. We saw a 3.2% job growth in the past 12 months. We had 97 consecutive months of positive growth.
My age.
8 years, insane. We're the number 2 state Americans are moving to.
What's number 1?
Oregon.
No.
And then Nevada's population grew by over 3 times the national average. 2017 versus 2018.
And did they give you what they're considering us now? How big?
No.
Okay.
But he said, here's the issues though with housing. This is part of what's playing the point. They said the supply constraints, right? We have a finite amount of land.
Until the BLM release.
Because of the Bureau of Land Management. Our land is owned by the government. Plus, we're landlocked to a degree by mountains. I mean, you can go over the mountains and through, but it is what it is. Cost of materials.
Horrendously high.
And if we have so much job growth, the supply of people to work is low and demand is high. So we're going to be talking with Wes about rising mortgage rates and how they flattened out. That all results in what? Reduced affordability. So that is why we're seeing a little bit of affordability.
That was a key word too.
Affordability.
Affordable housing was the third point.
Plus, this is something that was interesting. Our permits are still low, which means how many housing starts are we having?
Well, they're lower than they were during the crazies, but
even the last look, they're still going down.
Mm-hmm.
Only 10,000 pulled in March, and this shows this really high tech number means that we're not building enough houses compared to the amount of job growth and population growth in
we have
our city.
We have 9,000 available condos and houses over 9,000.
But the reality is,
there may be a shortage.
There may be a shortage. This is the time.
And that's where affordable housing, multi-family housing, that's where all of that comes in.
This is interesting. Residents by age group in Clark County, believe it or not, from 25 to 34, those are the highest demos. Then 35 to 39. That middle from like 20 to 50 is the highest. It's decreasing as you get older. You know, there's only 26,000 people over the age of 85 in Clark County.
They're lucky they're alive. I don't mean to be mean, but
average age
I'd be
in
thrilled.
Clark County is 38.6.
Your age.
I'm over the median age, so are you, Danny?
Thanks.
Homeownership rates by age, over 65, 78%, 55 to 64, 75%, 45 to 54, 70%, 35 to 44, 60%. So just some really, they have the effective months availability at 2.7.
That's right.
They're saying that the homes priced under 300 are still hot as can be, right?
Of course. But we have condos for 190 that are on the market.
So here's what's interesting. The new home people are not going to like this. We're at the highest ever on our new home median average. Our last high was right around 350 in 08. We're at 390.
Cost of land, cost of equipment, cost of labor.
Whereas their existing home median price is 265. GLVR is right around 300. I believe it's still a better deal now to buy a resale. But what happens is this. We talked about this. New homes, existing homes. New homes are always more expensive, just the way it is, because they're newer products, they're more efficient, whatnot. If the gap between new homes and resales is this, people will buy the new home. But then the prices go crazy, and the gap gets too large.
300 for a resale.
Almost $100,000.
It's almost 100,000 difference
Median price
for the same house.
But there's other factors. They're going into maybe more desirable new areas.
Get a home warranty.
Right? So if the gap goes too much, people start buying resales again because they just put money in, and then the new homes come down, and that seesaw kind of happens.
By the way, I had the heat on this morning.
You stink. All right. People are still coming to Vegas because the major Western housing markets were still one of the best deals. San Fran, San Diego, LA, Seattle, Denver, Portland, Salt Lake, all way more expensive than us. Does say we're less expensive than Phoenix.
That's not true.
Or more expensive than Phoenix.
Yeah, that's not. That's not.
But that doesn't take into account, I don't believe, Scottsdale and things like that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We're more expensive than Boise and Albuquerque. No offense to Boise and Albuquerque. Good luck.
Albuquerque knows it though, and New Mexico's one that state that wants nuclear waste. So
they need the
money, the income.
So okay, this is just some interesting stuff. And that is...
They keep saying that all the millennials are living with the parents, and now they're saying that the millennials are starting to buy.
Yeah, because they have more debt than we ever had.
Did you see the professor?
And they're getting married. They're getting married later. Whereas two incomes, one house. Right? So that plays...
Did you see the guy graduating, the older gentleman, the billionaire graduating from college? And he graduated from college, and everyone is in the class. He paid their student.
Did you see that?
That was phenomenal. I was so happy. That gave me the second biggest smile of the week. The biggest smile of the week, Lola and Ella Hulu. That was by far.
You will probably get like 700 views on this. She got 1,000, and I'm like, why? You gotta love about the 1,000 views. It's unbelievable.
I watched it like 5 times.
I gotta tell you what happens. So they do it once, and I go, this is hysterical. I said, stop. And I didn't even Facebook Live it. I go, okay, now go. And I videoed it. And you gotta love Lola. Like, she firmly believes that she hula hoops amazing.
When you show it to her when she's 20. No,
oh,
I want it at her wedding. The video at her wedding.
it's fantastic.
It's fantastic.
To the point where I showed it to her and she's like, yeah, that's awesome. Not even knowing I'm laughing.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I was like, I don't know how to hula hoop. And she's like, I'll show you. It's kind of like realtors. A lot of you realtors, you think I mean, that's right. And then you're like, I'm going to do a team. Right? I'm going to do a team of hula hoopers, although you can't hula hoop to begin with, right? Oh my God.
Great video.
Oh, it was fantastic. Okay, so the reason why I talked about that was we had this guys' night last night, and I was having this conversation with a couple people, and they were like, oh, the market's going to be great for the next 10 years. And I was like, listen, we've been on an 11-year run. I believe that we got some time. But that was why I was like,
the market is...
if you want peace, prepare for war. The market's good. Things are good.
The market runs in cycles. I've been in it when you're 42. No, I've been in it 42 years.
Yeah.
And I've seen it go like this. And
so what I'm saying is, this is basically winter is coming. This is basically prepare for a rainy day, right? Start stacking some dollars because it doesn't last forever. And when people start saying that, I always remember, like, to me was like the unofficial logo of the 2004, 5, 6, and 7 of excess. You know what to me was? Like, it just exemplified the whole time of overspending, was the big yellow Hummers. Remember the big yellow Hummers? Like that was
1 mile.
1 mile a gallon. You just drove from gas station to gas station. That's all you did. Mm-hmm. Like, when people start getting irrational exuberance, it's a book. It's actually pretty good. That's when I would say,
not happening yet.
just be smart. I totally agree. And there's still good deals out there to be made.
There's great leases. People aren't taking equity loans or line of credit to buy a boat.
But you got to watch. You start seeing that stuff,
then you're in trouble.
and some of these stats that were in here,
But they aren't doing that.
people are paying off debt. Corporations are paying off debt. So people are still smart about it, I believe.
We went through a very heavy hit.
We did.
In
And I
07.
think that people still remember.
Yeah.
But don't, for a Game of Thrones reference, don't get so set on the Iron Throne that you forget that the White Walkers are coming, right? Which, by the way, not to get political, but they asked the author what the metaphor was for. Mm-hmm. And the White Walkers were actually metaphor for climate change. Just putting that out there. Okay, Wes should be coming on soon. I want to ask him this. So if we could find Wes, bring him in. A couple of updates will be closed Monday, May 27th for Memorial Day.
Yay!
What's the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day? Billy O, if you're watching.
Memorial Day, Oreo. For those of you out there, you heard the Oreo thing.
Oh my God.
And that is a scary thing.
Memorial Day, they're honoring people who have passed, correct?
Right.
And Veterans Day, they're people who serve.
Who will serve and alive and pass.
Gotcha.
Right.
Good morning.
Wesley.
How are you?
We're jumping right in. This is Wes Friedman from WBC.
Fresh Baked Cookies Mortgage.
FBC.
Fresh baked cookies.
His 775 number is
Do you
still
make
on here.
Oreo cookies? I'm not going to let that go.
He will not give up that
The
Reno number.
Yeah,
He's Reno to the core.
that just means he's a hoarder. That's all.
All right,
Do you
Wes.
want my 516 number?
So,
have it.
I
I don't remember.
I had a woman complaining about everything. She was a New York woman. I got the phone call, right? It was a horrible deal. This woman could not be made happy. Of course, she's a New Yorker. She reminded me of somebody who I won't say on TV. And I go, 631. I go, it was 516 back when I was there. You know what I mean? And she goes, it was never 516. I said, and so already it was starting out bad. I was like, 516 used to be the number in Long Island.
I just got a voicemail from 516.
Yeah, it's city now though.
Oh, okay.
So it used to be the entire island. It's 718 and
Kind of
917.
like our 702. What's our other 725?
Yes.
Same idea.
I never saw 7%.
We have 75 here.
He's right.
Never saw it.
It wasn't. I'm sorry. It wasn't. It was the whole. Was it Nassau and Suffolk? And we ran out of 516. 718 and 917 was the city, and
718 was the city, then they added 917.
then 212 was Manhattan,
Yes.
and then we were 516. But then Suffolk became 631.
Those, yes, cells and everything.
So I'm saying.
What was our number?
516-654-3418, baby. Are you kidding me? All day, every day. 76 Ohio Avenue. Go look it up on Zillow. 900 square feet. Born with a plastic spoon, not a silver spoon. So Wes does loans. We're gonna open it up. We're talking about. I had this debate last night with a financial guy and food and beverage and smart guy. We were talking about independent contractor status versus W-2. Okay, something we deal with as owners of this company. All of our agents are independent contractors. We have this very gray, weird line of what we can say our policies are for our company versus we can't require agents to work 40 hours a week, right? And there's no mandatory meetings and things like that. You, as being a loan officer in the mortgage industry, you've seen both sides, right?
Yes.
So up until like 2010, 11, 12.
I believe it was 10. I believe is when they changed our compensation.
So when this came Dodd-Frank regulation, right?
And then it was compensation restriction, right?
Yeah. So what is it now? Are you W-2?
We're W-2.
Okay.
And
Bonus?
no, commission only.
It's like, is it
So-
draw?
Well, so you have to get paid for your hours in our industry because it's heavily regulated as to our compensation. So I get a $2,000 a month draw that is paid back at the end of.
And then you obviously beat it out
Right, got
Exactly.
it, got it.
So
So they
here-
have to give you compensation.
because of,
But they can't, like you were saying, they can't tell me where to be, when to be, and or control my hours. So that we should be what's considered statutory W-2. So that would be like an insurance agent that uses his or her own automobile and navigates and pretty much is self-employed within another shell, right? 'Cause
but
we are.
would you say that you have more oversight and from the owners now, or not, I don't want to say oversight. There's more, I don't even want to put you into the control. Let me just jump the question. There's been much less competition and there's been much more consolidation, correct me if I'm wrong, and less loan officers. Did all three of those things happen?
Absolutely, yes.
Pros and cons of that.
Well, I mean, just like any industry, the cream rises to the top. So you're always going to have your 10%, your 20% are doing most of the volume. When we switched from 1099 compensation to W-2,
Yep.
you're going to pay, your taxes are going to be, you're going to pay more taxes because as a W-2 compensated employee, as I am today, we're bound to certain write-offs.
Of course, no, let's just assume people know that.
Okay.
I'm saying is from the industry as a whole, do you think you're working with better?
Absolutely, more seasoned, yes. Because if you are just, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah,
but
that's
if
my
you-
point.
If you're just taking a loan from start to finish in 25 days, everyone can do that for the most part. So yeah, I'm seeing better, more seasoned agents, and for that matter, they're getting more market share as well.
That was my question. So I don't know the exact numbers. Maybe you do, but there was something crazy. Amato on to me. You're on
I'm
the phone.
watching this.
This guy. This is gonna
This
come
is-
back to you.
I'm
That's
watching.
right. Maybe there's my train of thought. Do you think? So what were there like 15,000 LOs, and they got down all the way to 3,000, something insane like that.
There was 38,000 in the peak of the market, and then I think we went to 12.
Wow.
And I don't know where we're at today.
And have they done, or if they do, you know this? Do you think the average LO is making more money on average? Did you eat a cookie or something?
That's a
Jojo
good
said,
question.
don't leave him on the table. He's taking.
That's a good question. You know, this business is, there's so many peaks and valleys. I would say, yeah, the better loan officers are getting more market share. Their phones are ringing more often. There's still, I hate to say it, but a bad group of agents still out there. They're not doing the right things up front and vetting their clients and make sure they're approved.
Well, you cut out the bad, there's always going to be a new
Bad.
bottom, right?
Exactly.
That's just the way it is.
But at the same time, with timelines on our contract now, I remember loan officers could go the whole way
Yeah.
and never do anything and then try to catch up. But now with timelines, it's like, oh my God, you blew every timeline and now I can't close my deal and the loan officer is ruining my deal. And now there's definitely with timelines in our purchase agreement, a higher accountability to loan officers.
No question about it, and I think too with the market, we saw a big slowdown in December, January, and February,
Yeah.
and I think that, although kind of weird that it took that to do it, but I think there's more white glove treatment because every loan's important, as it should be at any time during the market. But
Have you seen less mortgage companies, more consolidation?
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah, they're bigger now. There are more loan officer bodies in each individual shops now. which
Gotcha.
is-
I love to say when they're doing a loan with you that if it's a conventional loan, that the appraisal could be done in 7 days and people write on a conventional 21 days and I go, no, call Wes, do it in a week. I don't want it, you know, cause in today's market, the last thing you wanna do is keep your house off the market for a deal that isn't gonna go, so.
Well, yeah, and that's a good point. You know, I got a call from Ivy. I'm dropping names now, but 2 Sundays ago, and we had a client that's relocating out of California, and we tightened up those contingency deadlines, and we got the offer accepted on Sunday. So in cases where we need something quick, let's do it quick. I can go as little as 7 days on a loan contingency. Average turn time is about 5 days to get it in shop, okay? But that means that our inspection's being done, the appraiser goes out, and there's quality control that goes on that. So 5 days is on average appraisal delivery receipt.
So let me ask you this.
So I think he took 20 days on my loan.
So that's timeliness is good. No, because I'm gonna give you something because you're out of control.
You're like, we reverse.
You're out of control. Ooh,
I'm
the
the-
smell.
Just get it.
What's the all right? 800 credit scores, 40% DTI. If I wanted to do a rate and term,
I'll tell you guys, I get this question quite often. My clients, I stay in touch with them regularly. They'll call me and want to refinance. And the only refinances that we're doing is debt consolidation, because even if I can drop you a quarter and eliminate your mortgage insurance, I'm running you right back into a 30-year term. If you're 2 years into that note,
you already paid that.
cleared it out.
Yeah.
Let's wait until a 15-year fix, which will happen again, goes to 2 1/4, and then we'll reanalyze your debt.
So, what he just said but didn't say, and I'm going to translate for you, is ethics and integrity to the point where you say, hey,
No.
don't give me money to refi something that you don't need to have to refi, because even though it makes sense, because you think you're going to save $50 a month times 30 years, 360 months, you're not going to own it for 30 years most likely. Wait till it makes financial sense. Wes has the success and the ethics to put you off until it's the right situation for you. That's the kind of person you want to work with. That's the difference of working with a $8 employee working inside of a call center for a major corporation that just wants to turn and burn you, right?
It doesn't know your name.
Exactly. It's
I
just
appreciate you bringing that up.
it's tremendous difference. Okay, so we went from highly unregulated. Hey, today you're a loan officer. I remember when I became a loan officer, I was like, where's the test I have to
Yeah,
take?
didn't have one.
No test. Like,
In fact,
Right.
you could fill out your application and have it stamped and in the mail, and you could write a loan.
you can write along. It's crazy. Then we went to middle, which I believe we're at now. Here's the potential unintended consequences of what we have to be careful about. What that has done is got rid of all the pretenders, all the little indies that weren't running good shops, right? Got rid of all
Charging too much.
charging too much. Got rid of a lot of the bad actors. But here's the other side. If there's too much consolidation, then you're all going to be working for Wells, Chase, and Quicken, right? And I believe if it goes too much the other way, then it'll basically be like going to the bank
Right.
with poor service, or
We gotta keep the independent or
it's
the.
got to be a happy
Yes.
middle.
And it always will be because of the amount of, I think, profit to be earned in secondary.
Yeah.
There's always going to be not the big four banks. There's just too much.
Which the irony is they got all the money, but the level of service drop falls off a cliff.
Right.
It falls off a cliff.
You know, the analogy of
If
you.
they did it right,
Yeah.
they
They could crush it.
They
The
could.
But they'd have to
analogy-
pay people like you
Right.
good money,
But they don't want to do it.
of course.
The analogy of him to a bank is the analogy of us to these iBuyers.
Well, if
In a way, yeah.
It is.
here's the segue. The segue is if we applied what happened to the mortgage industry
To yours.
to ours, and this is where I'd be like, as fierce as we are for independents and independent contractors, it would force brokers to take on 50% less realtors, because now you're on the hook. You have payroll taxes, you got a lot of things.
Workman's comp.
There's a lot of new things. So if an agent would be producing, so I believe that even if we lost 50% of the agents, the quality of the agent would rise.
Right.
The little independents, or even the little corporations or startups that weren't doing it right or wanted to test the market would correct them, right? But where we have to be careful is we'd want to end up right where he is, right where his industry, rather than we're all working for Redfin, Zillow, and you know what I mean, three companies. Which again, nothing against those companies, but again, if they go too big, they say that they say that the process and the tech is so important. But if you're a tech company, you're watching this, I'm going to give you the secret. Just because you have a great algorithm and great tech doesn't mean that you can't that you can get rid of great service and relationships. If tech companies ever figured out that great service and relationships goes with tech, we'd all be out of business. But they can't figure it out.
Certainly. And same thing with the robot. I mean, the robot can't, and they want to automate everything, right?
Yeah.
But the robot, when it hits a little U-turn, it doesn't know how to react through it, right?
Yeah.
So,
But you said it with the iBuyers and all that stuff.
the happy medium.
Well, the bank, everyone says, wow, I'm getting a better rate, I'm getting low closing costs, and I go, and you're gonna lose the house because they can't close on time, and then the rate and the closing costs that you're raving about stink because you leave your dream home. So I'll say double up, I'll say run west, run well, see you could close, because if they're giving you cheaper closing costs and cheaper rate, but they can't get the loan closed, then you have nothing.
And you end up doing your mortgage yourself. I mean,
That's what I'm saying.
You really need a perfect scenario. It needs to be a deal that has no hiccups, and they're the anomaly. Most deals have hiccups. That's why humans are needed, because humans are working with each other. When the hiccups occur, good luck.
And that's why I say, where's the phone number to call?
I'll give you an
Where's
example.
the person to call? And I buy it and back.
You know where quality really trumps quantity, or paying more really trumps paying less, is what I'm doing right now. People working on my home, I'm spending cold hard cash on every single thing that's done in my house, and you're tempted to spend less. But then you got someone working with your $10,000 fridge or your $5,000 range, or your nice floors, and you start going, well, wait a minute, oh boy, I don't want the wrong people screwing with this. Do I have something on my shirt?
No, I was looking at
Oh my
mine.
God, you're looking at me. And that's when you really see. Same thing in your industry and in our industry. You start going, oh shit, I should have used a human being, I should have done a relationship, I should have paid a little bit more when things go wrong. And that is the major difference of what's going on. But back to that original thing, I know there'd be a lot of pushback, but it would be an interesting take if the independent contractor status got taken away. I mean, I know as a realtor, I would probably be against it.
I'm against it.
we
but-
were too,
Yeah.
but we had no
In
say.
our industry, we're against it because, I don't believe it works for us.
Are
But
they thinking about doing that?
No,
No.
California is.
Are
There's
they-
big
there's
arguments
always
in
talk.
California.
There's always talk.
Well,
but,
the thing is, it's like, it's a double-edged sword.
that
Because
speech went on before as you were born.
I get it, but as owners of a company, right, we can lead by example, we can have expectations.
You watch. I like to watch.
But you can't say, all right, it's kind of like this. It's kind of like Lifetime Fitness. Here's my example. Anyone could be a member at Lifetime. Do you think the average Lifetime member is in great shape?
No.
If it was mandatory that you had to show up at Lifetime Fitness 4 times a week in order to keep your membership at Lifetime
Doctors
Fitness,
would be out of business.
it's just something to think about.
It is.
So Wes, let's
I
go
love
to
how you break things down. though.
Yeah.
I mean,
let's go to rates because I love rates. What's happening?
Rates are daily volatility only because of the, I guess, tryst that we're having with China and the trade war.
Right.
I don't know what to think of the stock market numbers. I think a lot of it's high frequency trading. But all in all, they're staying good. I locked a jumbo VA loan up last week at 3.875%. You've got good credit on your conventional mortgages.
Dude, if I'm at 4.7, if I'm at 4.75,
we were looking at 5
shouldn't I
3
go?
months ago.
Shouldn't I go to? Wouldn't it make sense to me? 3.875. I've owned the house for 3 months.
It would, but then yes. But we want to always look at the mathematics. So when we do a refinance, in your case, since you've only been in there for 3 months, yes, rate term
I paid three.
and do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm surprised you timed that market at 4.75. They were, you guys. The rates were at 5.
I was in December.
See, there it is. 4.75, 5.25.
December, so no, New Yorkish in December.
It was December. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I mean, and that was a good rate in December.
That was a good rate because 5.25 were pretty much average.
Yes.
5 and 8. Another thing I'm seeing a lot of you guys is seller paid closing costs. It's nice to see my clients getting in with just their down payment, or if we couple that with the Home as Possible program or down payment assistance, we can get our clients in for 0.
So again, translation back to your buyers. There is more negotiation. Sellers pay closing costs. If your agents out there, agents ask for it. Buyers ask your agents to ask for it.
I agree.
Right?
Because on, I would say 60% of this month's volume, I have substantial concessions on all of them.
And normally we would say pay your own costs if borrowing money was expensive, but borrowing money is cheap. So why not
Leverage in.
leverage? Exactly.
They don't have the closing costs.
That's
so-
what I'm hoping that we see more first-time home buyers. The most common loans that we're doing right now are equity takers, selling current residence and buying and upgrading. Very few first-time home buyers. So I'm hoping that with more and more sellers being willing to pay some of the closing costs, we see an entrance or.
Well, let us also not forget, remember if you bought a house first time home buyer, you got $6 grand, $8 grand, remember the Obama programs were really
Yes.
getting that?
It's a stimulus.
Yeah.
That created, right, everyone wanted to run for that money. And we haven't
tainted
had,
them some, I think.
yeah, we haven't had a stimulus package.
That was
so.
August of 09.
Yeah.
Mhm.
When
That
back when
was
things
when-
were tough.
And that was when average price was 80, 90,000? Or no?
I sold my house in that month, of course, because Wes likes to say, "Follow me,"
Yeah.
because he
And
says
I-
I got a
and
horse
I never
off my
do.
butt with buying and selling. But I sold my Monte Rosa house during the stimulus package, and they used it, the 8,000. Beautiful.
One other thing, you guys, we have a lot of California buyers coming in, and oftentimes they have a house to sell. I have every one of our investors at our company allows for a one-time recast. Doesn't matter if it's a FHA loan, convention, or what have you. So if we've got that borrower in California that is has their house on the market, wants to not have a headache and be homeless while they're trying to close out here, we can go ahead and close on the loan out here if they only put 5% down, assuming they qualify. When they sell the house out in California and they want to throw $200,000, $300,000 at their new mortgage out here, the payment will actually recast. So
Explain recast.
recast means that on a 30-year fix, when you principal reduce, if it does recast, your monthly payment's going to change according to the amount you owe.
Versus if you just throw 200,000 at your loan,
You just
normally
paid off earlier.
you're still paying the same debt.
So basically what you're saying is you'll give them a loan, they don't have to sell the existing home, they can buy here, and then when they do sell that house, because a lot of them call us and they say, well, I'm looking,
It's like
but
taking-
until
it's
I
like-
sell mine
It's like
here, I
taking
can't.
an instant offer and actually getting what your house is worth. You don't have to sell it.
Right,
And then that person can now adjust their payment. So if they want to throw a chunk of
That's
change
great.
at it,
Right?
their payment
how do they
adjusts.
qualify though, carrying the two loans?
Well, I mean, in most cases, you're gonna debt to income qualify. Let's assume you have a house in California that's not listed for sale and you want to rent it. Well, even if without prior landlord experience, in other words, you have no experience of ever renting or being a
Oh,
landlord.
they're giving them the credit for that
You get
already.
credit for
That's
the
smart.
rent, and then that will wash the mortgage liability, and then we just qualify for
And that's the hardest part of qualifying for two houses at once is
double manning two mortgages.
exactly.
Right, and they didn't do that.
Which
when
I've been
I
paying
bought
for the
that.
last
They didn't
3
do
months.
that. They didn't do that when I bought the house for you here when you went to college. I had to show I was renting the existing house to get a mortgage.
To
Yeah.
wash that mortgage liability.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then your other three, you showed the rental history. You were good there.
Yeah, Yeah.
And they did change a guideline because of the buy and bells back in 2010 to, what was it, maybe 6 to 9, where people were buying another home and then bailing on.
All the way up to 12.
Right.
they were doing,
Yeah,
yeah.
they had implemented a rule that if you were going to do that back then, you had to provide proof with an appraisal that you had the 25% equity in the home, because they were like, well, if you have that, the chance of you leaving isn't likely. They've done away with that rule. So it doesn't matter your equity position on your vacating property, the one you're leaving, if you have a proper rental agreement, it will wash
Gotcha.
out mortgage payment.
I'm refined. 3.875 on a.
What's
I have a pretty big loan,
mortgage amount, yeah.
so that
I
may
have
be like
$3.5.
$500 a month.
I have 3.5, so sorry.
I had the one he did for me on
3.5.
was 3.5.
And I got it down from 309 to 250.
That was an easy transaction.
Well, you're old. You don't know what your income's going to be for the next 10 years.
That's Social Security, and they're not paying that payment.
Oh
I gotta
my
wipe that
God!
loan
The
out.
fact that you even get Social Security is funny in itself. All right,
I
let's
get
wrap.
it, yeah.
Let's wrap this up. Parting shots, Wes. Since you're part of the group right now, anything?
Well, I mean, I want to say that I respect everyone's relationships with their current lenders. I do not want. I realize it's one-sided. I don't want to just take your loans. I want to also help augment your business. I want to help with any marketing materials I can provide you. And if you have any fallout or communication issues with anyone you work with, please lean on us. Here to help you.
And the thing that personally gets me crazy when I see the deal dying, the lender didn't do anything, they said they could get a loan and they can't, and I go, how'd you get the lender? And they go, oh, it's a friend, or the realtor recommended because it's their sister-in-law. It drives me out of my mind. I am a man that uses people of competence. I will say, if you say you're gonna get the loan, you get the loan.
Yeah, and we had a friend of a friend. We were dealing with an issue just the other day where they moved companies and the company's nowhere to be found. They couldn't get anyone on the phone. It's like a nightmare. And this is 2019 where deals falling apart and it's MIA. And that is unacceptable. And he has, we were in that Southwest Realty One office all the way back from like 2009, 2008.
Those are the
So I've seen 10 years of him coming through and stepping up and delivering. So that's a decade of proof and rapport. So we couldn't be happier. You, any parting shots, Mr. Regional Vice President? Vito Michael. We're going to make him.
Just don't make them the one I don't like.
Sonny?
No, I like Sonny.
Fredo.
Fredo, I never liked Fredo.
I know who Fredo is, I just can't say it on TV.
All right.
I kind of look like a friend.
No. We'll call you Tom Hagen.
Make him the Irish guy.
I was making him the Jewish guy.
Oh, Tom Hagen is the Jewish guy? That's Irish.
You're right.
We'll go with it.
Okay. I'm a quarter Jew, so.
That's why you have a cookie.
I am. You're up. What's your takeaway?
My takeaway is, go to work. It's my same takeaway every week. Work and it happens. Sit home, nothing happens. Go to work.
And mine is what we began it with. If you want peace, prepare for war. And it's basically what I say with winterizing your business and preparing. And it ties into him, what he's saying. Work. Work when it's bad. Work when it's good. Work when it's just okay. The consistent ones always succeed. That's why 10 years, he's been doing it longer than 10 years, but 10 years of consistency, I know he'll take care of it. 40 years emeritus, right? 20 years. Someone,
Boy, are we all...
but wait, we get, I'm sure Wes gets this all the time with borrowers who go try someone else and they're like, I'm coming back, I made a mistake. We get at least 2 calls a week from agents that either worked with us in the past or who have been in our Sky Slope. Do you still pay your checks like this? Do you still do weekly meetings? Do you still take care of us? Oh my God, I made a mistake. I should have been here all the time. Consistency and doing the work always wins. I don't care if you have an app or a hack or any bullshit like that. That's what wins. That's what gets it.
I agree.
All right.
1000%.
Thanks.
Thank you guys.
Who wants a